Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and we're going to talk about something we haven't talked about before. We're going to go boldly where we've never gone before. Here on Clownfish TV, we're going to talk about Star Trek. Yeah, you know what? We don't talk about Star Trek on this channel, even though other channels, I guess they're in our vertical, do talk about Star Trek because frankly, I don't care about Star Trek anymore. I haven't talked about Star Trek Discovery. I haven't watched Star Trek Discovery. I have no desire to watch Star Trek Discovery, despite being a huge fan of Next Gen. Now, Picard has piqued my interest, but I have concerns. I have major concerns because it looks like Picard is going to be possibly the most political Star Trek ever made. Even more so than Deep Space Nine, I guess, and I don't know what the hell is going on with Discovery, but we're going to talk about it because as much as I would like to see the Next Gen cast return, I think I could do without all the current year politics. And I want to stress current year politics. Star Trek has always been a very thinky show. It's always been a very political show, but it was usually dealing with general issues, timeless issues, and not current year. But this incarnation of Star Trek apparently is going to deal with Brexit and Trump in a roundabout way. So we'll see what happens. Before we get into that, it's January. Our ad revenue is down a little bit, so we do have some sponsors to help us out, and we really appreciate those sponsors reaching out to us. And it actually does tie into Star Trek, because if you want to watch Star Trek on CBS All Access and you're out of the country, you're out of the United States, you're probably out of luck. But there's a trick, there's a solution. You can use a VPN. We'll talk about that, and then we'll get right back into the video. All right, guys, before we continue with the video, we're going to take a minute to give a shout out to the sponsor of this episode of Clownfish TV, Surfshark VPN. If you're living outside of the United States and you want to legally watch The Mandalorian on Disney Plus or check out Hulu, you can do this with Surfshark VPN and a valid paid subscription, of course. Yeah, I said legally, just to be clear. I'm not advocating that any of you sail the high seas, if you know what I mean, right? And I'm also not going to ask about everything you might want to use a VPN for. That is your business. But I do recommend using a VPN if you're concerned about your internet privacy. Basically, services like Surfshark VPN lets you encrypt all the data sent on the internet so no one can steal your passwords and other data. They don't know where you're surfing from. Again, you can bypass those pesky region locks. Check this out. If you're on Netflix and you want to search for Marvel movies and you live in, say, the Netherlands, which is where I am connected right now to the Netherlands, this is all that's going to come up for you because of the region lock. There's really not a lot of Marvel content here, is there? So let me just switch this to the United States and see what happens. Watch this. Watch this. So we're going to connect to Netflix in the US. We're going to search for Marvel. Look at that. Now you can watch Infinity War. You can watch Ant-Man, Black Panther. There are a lot more choices. You can get around region locks for all kinds of content. Hulu, Netflix, CBS All Access. If you're interested in watching Picard, you can do that. And now Surfshark has another offer for you guys, for our Clownfish TV audience. If you go to surfshark.deals/clownfish, you will get the latest offer for Clownfish TV viewers. Currently, I think it's 83% off and 1 month free. Go check it out. Check out our sponsor. Helps pay the bills. And let's get back into the video. Okay, guys, welcome back. All right, this is coming from Bounding in the Comics. Star Trek Picard's Patrick Stewart. On the United States, there's a time limit to your effing state. This is one of many articles talking about the politics of not just Patrick Stewart, but talking about the politics of Picard. And apparently Picard is going to be commentary on fascism, Yahtzeeism. I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be commentary on institutions that we thought were good going south, becoming bad. And of course, you know, that's going to bring up Trump. That's going to bring up Brexit. And this show is going to be very, very political. This is not really what I wanted to see in a sequel to Star Trek Next Generation. As much as I would like to see these characters return, this is not what I wanted, but it's 2020. Would we expect anything less? So this is coming from Bounding in the Comics. Star Trek Picard's Patrick Stewart. There's a time limit to your effing state. Patrick Stewart got political while promoting the upcoming Star Trek show and his stage adaptation of A Christmas Carol. During an interview with Variety, Stewart took aim at both the US and United Kingdom's leaders and President Donald Trump and Boris Johnson. He noted that Star Trek Picard is him responding to the world of Brexit and Trump and feeling, why hasn't the Federation changed? Why hasn't Starfleet changed? Maybe they're not as reliable and trustworthy as we all thought. From there, he goes full bore into his political views because everybody loves to hear celebrities talk about their politics. I think we need Captain Ricky Gervais. Captain Gervais to bridge, Captain Gervais to bridge. Stewart answers his own question. I think it's actually the UK. I think we're effed, completely effed, he says. He then comments on the US. There's a time limit to your effing state, which is 4 years away. He does express a hope that the US can change, but believes the Orange Man will likely get reelected. I completely agree. You know, celebrities and their hot takes might have actually had something to do with that. So you might have actually caused it to happen by constantly talking about politics. I'm just going to put that out there. And for the most part, I'm pretty apolitical, right? I just get tired of hearing about it. But I get tired of hearing about Hollywood and other celebrities talking politics. But what they're doing is they're actually, the backlash to their talking about politics is what causes the people they don't like to get elected. They don't seem to see the relationship here. Anyway, the actor also had something to say about his stage adaptation of The Christmas Carol. He talks about Christmas Carol. He's working on The Christmas Carol. It's something he hasn't done in a while. So Variety details that Stewart describes the play as a profoundly angry attack on a society that treats marginalized people as subhuman. Stewart adds, forget about Tiny Tim and all that stuff. It's a political document. Well, that's probably not untrue. That's not untrue. You know, this is not the first time that Patrick Stewart has spoken out against Brexit, which I'm not even gonna, you know what? I'm not even gonna comment on the nitty gritty of Brexit. Being an American, we are completely confused by what the hell is going on with Brexit. You know, I'm gonna be honest. It's like, you know, just when you think you have it figured out, it's a lot more complicated than you think. But he's talking about diversity and Brexit and yada yada last year. Anyway, you know, that's all well and good. Again, actors are entitled to their opinion. You know, they're entitled to their opinions. They're entitled to their politics. They can talk about whatever they want to talk about. Where it gets tricky is when it spills over into the content itself. Now, disclaimer, because I know people are going to jump me for this, because I am well aware that Star Trek has always been a pretty political show. However, the politics in Star Trek have always been, to me, they've always come across as being sort of general, cautionary tales. A lot of times we'll take a group of people or take something that happened in history and we'll have an alien with a funny nose or funny eyebrows or something be a substitute for a group of people or an ideology. And I completely get that. And if you go back to Next Gen, you can pair up some of the Next Gen episodes with stuff that was going on during the day. But there were a lot of other episodes too that just kind of spoke to the human condition. Where I'm concerned about Picard is it sounds to me like it's going to be all about current year politics. You know, and that's problematic. It's problematic because one, it's not going to age very well. And two, it's not something I want to see, because it sounds to me, based on what I'm hearing, it sounds to me that they're going to destroy the Federation. Now, there's been some storylines before in the past where the Federation wasn't the organization we thought it was going to be. Even the first season, even Next Gen, the first season, they had an episode where the Federation had been infiltrated by doppelgangers or whatever. And then they never seemed to revisit that, did they? They're just like, oh, hey, we got rid of them all. Did you? I don't know. But now basically the Federation is corrupt. The Federation are Space Yahtzees. This is coming from IGN. Jerry Ryan, who's going to be coming back. They're throwing everything at this. They're bringing Borg into it. They got Hugh is coming back. They've got most of the cast of Next Gen coming back. They're bringing Jerry Ryan back as 7 of 9. But Jerry Ryan explained that the dark times have overtaken the galaxy, and 7 of 9 has seen a lot of dark crap in the last 20 years. Dark crap. 7, I think, still holds Starfleet and the Federation in large part responsible for much of it. The universe is a mess, and I think she initially sees Picard as a representation of that. She's been working with sort of a group of freedom fighters called the Fenris Rangers, who are trying to keep some semblance of order in the mess that is the galaxy. So it sounds like, what is this? The Empire versus the Rebellion? The Resistance? Seven resists the Federation, which has become an empire. Are we making the allegory that America or the UK are overreaching? Is that what we're doing? Because I have a weird feeling. This is where they're going to go with this show. And that's not the Star Trek show I want to see. Granted, not everybody needs a happy ending, but to destroy the Federation, like, destroys what's left of Gene Roddenberry's optimistic view of the future, right? Despite all the problems and all the conflict in Star Trek, you could always come back to the fact that the future was something to look forward to and not something to fear. But now it's current year, and we need to be afraid of the future. We have to be afraid of the future. We have to be ready to fight the Space Yahtzees. The Space Yahtzees, they're coming for you. But back to this interview in Variety. Stewart, who is an executive producer on Picard, insists we're remaining faithful to Gene Roddenberry's notion of what the future might be like, but rigid adherence to the notion is clearly not what he's here for. That's true. In a way, the world of Next Gen had been too perfect and too protected, he says. It was the Enterprise. It was a safe world of respect and communication and care, and sometimes fun. In Picard, the Federation, a union of planets bonded by shared democratic values, has taken an isolationist turn. They've taken an isolationist turn. The new show, Stewart says, was me responding to the world of Brexit and Trump and feeling. Why hasn't the Federation changed? Why hasn't Starfleet changed? Maybe they're not as reliable and trustworthy as we thought. I mean, this is dark. Like, by the time of Next Gen, humanity had worked out most of its problems. There was no poverty, there was no hunger, and it could actually turn an eye toward the stars and go out and explore the galaxy and, I guess, solve other people's problems for them. Screw the Prime Directive, right? But now we're going to say that the Federation are the bad guys now. How clever. This hasn't been done before, ever. This hasn't been done before, that the good guys are the bad guys, but it's not going to sit well, I don't think, with a lot of Star Trek fans. Now, I don't consider myself a Star Trek super fan. I'm definitely not a Trekker. I'm a casual fan. I watched and loved Next Generation, watched and loved Deep Space Nine. I'm not on board with this decision. As much as I would love to see Patrick Stewart return to Jean-Luc Picard, and I'd love to see the old gang get back together, this is not really the way I want to see that done. I don't want to see them destroy the Federation just to make a statement about today's current political climate. That's not why people watch Star Trek. I mean, obviously the adventure, the excitement, but it's been a thinkier show for years. It's been a show that shows us what the future could be. It's given us hope, and this sounds very hopeless. It sounds like a very hopeless show. Real world parallels are not hard to identify. It's 1 week before the parliamentary election that will see British Prime Minister and Brexit hardliner Boris Johnson's Conservatives win a staggering victory over their Labour rivals, and Stewart is not feeling optimistic about the future. Because Patrick Stewart, personally, is not happy about the future, we have to ruin the Federation? God, come on. Picard's better than this. I'm not sure which one of us is in the most trouble. He's talking about Britain and the US. I think it's the UK. This is where he said, F the UK, F America, your time is going to come. God. These are not the opinions of someone who on the cusp of 80 is disengaging from the world. Next Generation alumni Jonathan Frakes, who reprises his role as Riker and directed 2 episodes of the new show's first season, believes that age has only heightened Stewart's powers. Maybe he's got more time to spend on the internet now. Maybe he's on Twitter more. Maybe that's why he's so preoccupied with politics. Patrick has become sillier as he's gotten older, Frakes says. His sense of humor is wild. His ability to be playful and more vulnerable makes him and his work more layered. He's 79 and has a very full resume. And so his confidence in his work allows him, I think, to be confident in his personal life. He's at ease. So it sounds like Frakes is like dodging the bullet, doesn't it? That number one is dodging the bullet here. So look, let's see what the comments are like on this Variety article. I guess once you become an actor, it's a death spiral to liberalism and self-appointed importance. Oh boy. Patrick can do no wrong. He's following Gene Roddenberry's concept. Well, that is true. Look, Star Trek has always been a political show. But again, I want to point out that I personally had never felt like it was as on the nose or as on the rubber nose as this sounds like it could possibly be. You know, hopefully it's dealt with, delicately. Hopefully they're not going to hit you upside the head with the politics. But from everything I've heard, it sounds to me like they are absolutely going to hit it right on the nose. But they're throwing everything at it. We got Hugh the Borg is coming back. We've got Data's coming back. Data's return Picard hinged on not undoing his Star Trek nemesis death. So this might be B9. Who knows? This might be B9. And he looks weird as hell. He looks weird. Like, I think they tried to de-age him, but they did it very, very badly. Or he could be a flashback, or he could be a holodeck projection. Who knows? Who knows? The thing that's really interesting is that they are already greenlaying a second season. So even if this show winds up being a complete disaster, CBS is already committed to it. It's probably in Patrick Stewart's contract. It's going to happen. And sometimes people don't realize, when these shows seemingly don't die, even if the ratings are terrible, it could be that they've already committed to X number of episodes of the show. So in the case of Picard, we're getting a second season for sure. But even in this announcement, even when they're announcing a second season of Picard, they have to get politics into it. They have to get politics into it. Executive producer Akiva Goldsman said we can expect to see some of the social relevance that the Star Trek franchise is known for. Quote in Deadline, he said, "The marginalization of others not being open-hearted or seeing with empathetic eyes, this seems to be a pervasive problem we all saw as ripe for healing. Star Trek does its bit to heal social ills." Again, I am not going to say that Star Trek has never been political. It most certainly has always been political to some degree. It's just never been, I don't think, as on the nose about it as Picard seems to be. Or if it was done with such a deft touch that we got the basics, we got what they were saying, but it never felt overly preachy. It never did. Next Gen was always entertaining. And maybe, I'll be fair. Maybe Picard will also be entertaining and it will get across the message they want to get across without being overly preachy. But when all the media outlets are already pouncing on the politics behind Picard, and we don't have Gene Roddenberry here to steer the ship, I'm not really hopeful. I got to be honest. I'm not really hopeful. I think that it absolutely is going to hit you upside the head with its politics. I don't know how this is going to set with longtime Star Trek fans, especially if they're going to basically burn down the Federation as we knew it. I don't really want to see that. I don't think I want to see that. I don't want to see a dystopian Star Trek, and that's what we're looking at, is a dystopian future for Star Trek, possibly. Again, I'm definitely gonna watch it. I am really curious to see where they go with it. Regardless, it's always good to see Patrick Stewart on screen. He's still got it. I just think, like Jonathan Frakes said, he's gotten sillier with age. So we'll see what happens. But we're going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we will talk more about Picard as we get closer to it launching on All Access, and I'll definitely be checking out the first episode at least. Live long and prosper, I guess. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.